Hello YouTube, Ultra Maximus here with a video response to KalelPrime's reboot on Getting to Know a Transformers Fan. This is the fourth time he's done it, and I think I've done this a few times. It's been a while, so I figured I'd go ahead and sit down and go over it again and see what's changed, what hasn't changed, those kind of things. So first off, I apologize. I'm coming off of a cold, so I'm a little froggy still. Let's see. Been a while since I got to talk about Transformers. I'm actually pretty backed up. I've got a bunch of figures I'm going to start reviewing. In fact, when I get done with this video, I'm going to probably start throwing a few of them out there and kind of going over stuff. And, you know, it was kind of funny. I was listening to KalelPrime talk about some of the reviewers and, you know, people looking at figures, talking about figures, that kind of thing, and kind of, you know, very few that he looks at and watches, and kind of got me to think, you know, some of the people I watch and why I watch them, and then started to think about my reviews and what I could do with mine and what I do with mine, what I want to do with mine. If you've never watched any of my reviews, check them out. I don't do the typical, this is how you transform it and it moves here and this and that and the other, and I don't do that. I don't care to do that. It's what instructions with the toy is for. I just want to see what the thing looks like in robot mode. I want to see what the thing looks like in vehicle mode. There are a few exceptions. One exception would be definitely, I can think of off the top of my head, the Generations War for Cybertron Soundwave, where you could transform it into the boombox mode. And there were some people, because that's obviously not in the instructions, there are people out there that did it and how they did it and did those kind of things. So that kind of stuff, definitely I like to watch and see how they done it. Air Arachnid for Transformers Prime, I think, is going to be a similar situation, where it's going to go from robot to helicopter, and you're going to have to kind of figure out how to put it in spider mode. But I could be wrong. We'll see when we get the instructions. But that's what instructions are for. So I don't show that. So what do I do with my reviews? Well, one, I like to talk about the character. I like to talk about the background of the character, some of the history, some of the incarnations, some of the incarnations of the toy, those kind of things. I like to talk about the packaging. I do a pretty detailed look on the package because people put a lot of effort into those. I think a lot of them look very attractive. If they don't, I point that out. Some of the things on the package, different odd things you might catch, might not catch. I like to show figures that didn't make releases, like there was one in Transformers Animated I'd noticed, and those kind of things. And then it's straight, here's the robot, here's the vehicle, those kind of things. And then I kind of like to compare, or try to compare that figure to a different kind of figure. So is that different? A little, I guess. But that's the way I do it. So if you're interested, take a look. I'll be actually posting quite a few. I've got probably, oh Lord, I've got 5 boxes of Transformers from like Dark of the Moon, Generations. I still got a bunch of revealed Shield figures to go through. All kinds of stuff I gotta go through. And actually, I found an animated figure that I'm gonna take a look at as well. So, so more of that's coming up. So, getting to know the Transformers fan. Just kind of go through some of these, talk about them, I guess. And, you know, where was I then, 4 years ago? Where am I at now? That kind of stuff. I'm probably a little heavier now than I was 4 years ago. But, yeah, you know, such is life, right? So, question number 1. How long have you been a Transformers fan? Well, that would be since the cartoon and the toys came out. I was a kid. I was probably, I don't know, 7, 8 when Transformers came out. So I was at that prime toy age. I watched the cartoon every afternoon after school. I got all the toys. I was a mad collector of the toys. Got them for birthday, Christmas. Saved up my allowance. However I could get them, I'd get them. It was alongside He-Man, Masters of the Universe, Thundercats, Super Friends, Transformers. Those were the big ones. I had a few G.I. Joes. Wasn't a big G.I. Joe fan, but definitely Transformers stuck out, and that was the prime running collection that I had going on, definitely. So since I was a little kid. Um, I remember going to see Transformers the movie. I remember the commercials when it came out and the whole shtick about that. And I went to go see the movie. My father took me to Lafayette Square Mall here in Indianapolis. There was a Lowe's Theater in the back of the parking lot over by I-65, which is gone now. And he took me and my little cousin Jenny and my sister to go see that on a Saturday afternoon. I vividly remember that, and yes, I was one of the kids that teared up and cried when Optimus died, and unlike some of you younger people out there, I had no clue he would be coming back in the next season at all. As far as I knew, he was dead. I went to the theater, they killed off Optimus Prime and pretty much every Gen 1 character that I really liked. So I was like, little devastated, but by the end of the movie, I was like, oh, this is pretty awesome. And I got some characters I liked, like Ultra Magnus and Cup and Springer and Blur. So um, give and take, I guess, right? So question number 2. Can you think of a standout moment in your life regarding Transformers? Well, it probably would be Transformers the movie. That was a big thing when I was a kid. That had a big impact as far as watching some of those characters die, and it really got me to think about story arcs and writing and why things you would do that kind of stuff. And I started to write my own fan fiction by doing little cartoons and little short stories, things like that, about some of the Transformers there. That was a big one. Transformers pretty much cemented my comic book collecting, I think. I'm a big DC comic book guy, and my very first comic book was a Superman comic that had a Banshee, I believe was her name, and Batman was in it as well. Well, it was Superman dressed up like Batman. And that was my first comic book. And I remember getting a few superhero books there. But it was a family vacation, a drive down to Tennessee, where I picked up a Transformers comic with the scraplets in it. And that really just kind of hooked me into comics. And I started buying more and more Transformer comics and ended up graduating from Transformers to superheroes, but I continue to collect the Transformers books and all that kind of good stuff. So either of those two, one of those two, definitely. So what's your favorite Transformer of all time? Oh, that's a rotating question, isn't it? I'd have to say, oh man, that is a good one. Optimus Prime's pretty high in the ranks there. G1, Optimus, Peter Cullen, pretty darn good. That just big bassy voice, the big personality, just the all-round hero, right? Yeah, he's gotta be pretty darn close, if not the. Although I will say, a close second to that would be Beast Wars Optimus Primal. And I say that because he wasn't Optimus. He never pretended to be Optimus. He was a reluctant leader. He didn't think he deserved it. He didn't, and Optimus, to one point, in the movie, he talks about, he was just a soldier who wasn't worthy, blah, blah, blah. But he was. I mean, he was stand-up, and he did the whole heroic leader thing, whereas Optimus Primal was almost kind of the failure. He was the underdog leader kind of thing. And when Beast Wars first came out, I hated it, a passion. In fact, I didn't start getting into Beast Wars until years after the show, and an old roommate of mine was a big fan, and he sat down and had me watch the show from start to finish, and I really got into the writing and really started to like the Optimus Primal characters. So definitely would say Optimus Prime, and I think Prime will come as a very close second. What is your most prized Transformers possession? Ooh, that's a good one. Well, my Masterpiece Prime's pretty awesome, so is my Masterpiece Megatron. Unicron's always been a favorite of mine because I wanted that figure since Transformers the movie, and it took almost, 25 years to get the thing. So that's pretty cool. I would probably say, though, my favorite possession, or my most prized Transformers possession, is a vintage Transformers the movie poster, that I had gotten from a comic book store, and they'd got long 25 years ago, and they taped it around a poster box, and it was like it was just a straight cardboard box, and they poster taped the original Transformers the movie poster around it for decoration, and it had been on that thing for 25 years at least. Well, the comic book store went out of business, and I picked up some stuff here and there, and the guy closed, the manager closed, and I'd known for 20 some years, and I asked if I could have that poster, and he said yeah, and I got a box cutter and I cut the tape. I was real careful to cut the tape around. It's got a little bit of tape and there's a couple nicks on it, but I've always wanted that poster, and it's a vintage. It's an actual movie poster, some wear and tear, but it's got some history to it because it was in my favorite comic book store, and it was the decoration around all the movie posters in that comic book store. So I've got a lot of memories of that poster and that comic book store, and of course one of my favorite Transformer storylines there. So I would have to say that's my most prized Transformer possession, definitely. Let's see, number 5. What is your favorite piece of Transformers fiction? That's a good one. As far as like cartoons, the episode with the Autobot bounty hunter was pretty darn cool. When Smokescreen was dealing with him, I liked that a lot. I would say my favorite piece of fiction, as far as the cartoon is concerned, would be the episode where they take Galvatron to the planet to get his mental capacity rebuilt, basically the psychiatric ward planet, and they put Galvatron in there to fix him. Hysterical. That was probably some of the funniest stuff I've ever seen, where he's just going nuts with the inmates, and he's all violent, and in arts and crafts he builds a gun and starts shooting people, and it's hysterical. So that's probably my favorite as far as the cartoon stuff. Here recently, though, I've been on FullMetalHero.com. If you have not been there, definitely check it out. I'm on the forum section a lot, and in the art section, a lot of people put their own fan fiction up and their own comics that they've put together and stuff. And there's a guy, and I apologize for not knowing who you are off the top of my head, but he's worked with some other people, and he's done a fan fiction comic that deals with the Diaclones, and it's Ultra Magnus coming down and trying to fit in on Earth with the Autobots before Transformers the movie, and the Mad Professor from the G1 series. It's got the little metal head and the robot arm, and Megatron's big plan where he's going to blow up the planet, and Starscream's dealing with him. That guy basically creates the Diaclones and pits them up against the Autobots, and I love that. It brought the old Diaclone toys into it's fan fiction, but it impressed me so much. The writing, the artwork, and the base idea of
the thing that I actually saved them, saved the pictures down, and I actually want to put them out and put them in my comic collection. I enjoyed them that much. So as of recently, that's probably my favorite fiction right now. So if you go to fullmetalhero.com, go into the art section, there's a bunch of people that's got, like, I think they call it Transformers, the Lost Years or Lost Season or something, and there's one, Attack of the Diaclones. And there's 3 or 4 strings where they got 4 or 5 pages at a time, and it's fantastic. I love it to death. Very good job, guys, on that. Outside of Transformers, what do you do with your life? Well, let's see. I am, as far as like work goes, 4 years ago I was working in a call center. I was a manager in a call center, and I took a job as a software consultant for Indiana University Health. Did that for about a year, and I've been an IT trainer or software trainer for some kind of corporate trainer for about 16 years. So that's generally what I do is some form of training. But in the last couple of years, I actually started working in the comic book business. And currently, I'm no longer working with IU Health. My sole occupation right now is comic book writing. I work with a couple different companies. So when I'm not here in Indiana, I am actually in New York City or in San Diego or Los Angeles, California. And I am working on 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 books total right now. Unfortunately, due to contractual obligations, I cannot release what it is until we actually get the press releases out. Um, and the companies get their money and their big hoo-ha and all that kind of good stuff. But if you know me, you know what it is. And if you do know me and you want to know which books are coming out, when and where, let me know. Shoot me an email, or give me a call, text me, whatever. And everything should start be rolling out here this October. Yes. Yeah. So that's what I do for work. I'm a professional geek. I'm a comic book writer. About to dive into the whole business full time. As for personal type stuff, I'm a huge aquarist. If you watch my channel, then you'll know I have a series that I do called Peanuts Reef. I have a 55-gallon saltwater reef tank, which I can spin around. There it is right there. I do a lot of stuff on that. I'm also a huge movie buff. My hundreds and hundreds of DVDs and Blu-rays and all that kind of good stuff. And my 3D TV. Do a lot of 3D Blu-ray reviews. And I like to travel. I'm going to start, I just bought a Mustang convertible, so I'm going to start driving down to Florida. I have a family that lives down there, that direction. So I'm probably going to start doing that this summer. Love to ride my Harley. I have a 100th anniversary Harley Davidson. To go along with my 35th anniversary Mustang. So I like, big collector, not just in Transformers, but I also collect vehicles. I gotta have the collector vehicles, right? The anniversary models. Video games here and there, comic books, those kind of things, the typical geek stuff, right? So, other than that, usually I hang down. There's a local brewery called Oak and Barrel, which is a microbrewery here in Greenwood, right down the street from me. I spent a lot of time there, met some great people there, good conversations, great beer, great environment. And if I'm not there Friday or Saturday night, you can find me at my buddy's bar, Peppers, here in Greenwood, Indiana. He actually has 3 of them around the city of Indianapolis, but I'm usually in the one in Greenwood, hanging out with friends and talking and just kind of relaxing. And actually, I do a lot of writing at the bar and the brewery. So, hey, if it worked for Papa, it can work for me, right? No? So that's pretty much me, what I do. What I do outside of the Transformers fandom.
What is the origin of your YouTube screen name? So Ultra Maximus is actually a character in my Transformers universe, I suppose you could say. A long time ago, I put together a Transformers role-playing game, and it was like Thursday nights. A bunch of us would get together and we do different role-playing games. We do Dungeons and Dragons. We would do Star Wars, Star Trek, Buffy, Angel, those kind of things. And we just started rotating all these games, and different people would run different ones. Well, we'd all big Transformers fans, and we're like, we need a Transformers role-playing game, and I actually put one together. So put the whole thing together, a core rule book, an Autobot hand guide, a Decepticon guide. We did a compendium for Beast Wars. We did one for Headmasters, a book about Gestalts. I did all kinds of stuff. And there were a group of characters that were non-player characters, and the people in the game would come across them every now and then, and they were Autobot bounty hunters. And it was Ultra Maximus, which was the main non-player character. He was the leader, and he was basically a repaint of Ultra Magnus, a little hard-nosed. There was Blues, who was a all black repainted Jazz, and he'd always play "I'm Coming" by B.B. King and Eric Clapton. And who else was in there? There was a set of twins. Burnout and Burn Up, I think, were the characters. They were basically Sunstreaker, Sideswipe type characters. They were in there. And then Omegabot 1, which was kind of a repaint of Omega Supreme. Well, they were the NPC characters that these other characters were always running across. And Ultra Maximus ends up becoming the last of the Primes and becomes Maximus Prime and all that kind of good jazz. So long story less long, that's where my YouTube name comes from, is from that character. So always liked that guy. Let's see. Whose videos do you enjoy watching? Everybody. I love all your videos. They're great. Keep making them. I love them. Actually, I watch a lot of random stuff. I kind of scroll through and look for figures I have not seen or figures I'm thinking about picking up. So I'll look at just about anybody's video. I'm more interested in the figure than the person doing the video. KalelPrime, obviously in there. He's actually the person that got me into doing YouTube videos. And this will take you back, David, if you're ever watching this. I started watching you doing reviews on Transformers Animated. So I would watch an episode of Transformers Animated, and then I would get online and watch you talk about the review and that kind of stuff. And then I figured out you did reviews on comics and Transformers, and I watched a few of those. But to be honest, KalelPrime's biggest one that got me was the Transformers Animated. It's kind of hit or miss with him these days. No offense to him or anything. It's just busy, and there's all kinds of stuff out there. And he really got me pulled into this whole YouTube thing, and it's crack. It's all your fault, David. It's all KalelPrime's fault. But as far as other people that I do watch aside from him on a regular basis, I would say Optibotimus. I watch him. He seems like a very nice guy. I just kind of like the way he talks, the way he sets everything up. He just seems like one of those guys that you can sit there and chat with in your living room. I watch a lot of Emgo, the freaking geek himself. I like it. He does a very good job in production, and he's got little stints at the beginning and end of his videos that remind me a lot of Mystery Science Theater 3000, so that's always interesting. Various other guys, V Decepticon, Pew. There's a few of them out there I'll watch here and there. They all do a great job. You can scroll through my subscription list, I suppose, if you're that interested in it. But basically, if you got a figure that I'm interested in or come across, um, I'll sit down and probably watch it. And if I like what you do, I usually subscribe, and that way it kind of comes up on my list when I'm looking for stuff. So I'm pretty indiscriminatory there as far as Transformer reviews and things like that. I am interested in KalelPrime's comic book channel he's going to do, because I don't see that many people doing comic book reviews as much as I do Transformers. Maybe it's because I'm into the Transformers thing. I'm sure there's tons of people out there that do comic reviews. I just personally have not been an avid looker for that. Other stuff I watch on YouTube a lot of is the aquarium stuff, the reef keeping hobby. That's probably a rival right now with me as far as the Transformers fandom and reef tank, saltwater marine tank stuff. So, in fact, the majority of my videos over the past several months have been on my aquarium, which I call Peanuts Reef, what's been going on with it, that kind of stuff. And I watch a lot of videos for those guys, like Limpet's Reef, Ricketts Reef, Testarossa 101. He's got some good stuff out there, and I watch a lot of those guys and what they're doing with aquariums, and what's going on with the hobby and fish, and Mr. Saltwater Tank TV, those kind of things. So that's pretty much what I'm watching on the YouTube as far as YouTubers go. And actually, to be honest, I've been catching up on a lot of History Channel and Animal Planet stuff on YouTube, like Finding Bigfoot and Ancient Aliens. So I guess watch that on YouTube. Yeah, sure. Let's see. So number 9, which of the Transformers is your holy grail? Ooh. That's a good one. It used to be Unicron, but that's obviously, I've got that taken care of. And when I was watching KalelPrime's video on this, he made a comment that the Holy Grail, it doesn't exist. It's basically, comes out of a French poem. It's a constant chase. You're not going to get it. If it did exist, it wouldn't be the Holy Grail, right? As far as figures that do exist, though, I would say my Holy Grail, the one I want, would be probably Fortress Maximus. And I'll get that eventually. I know I will. It's just a matter of finding one that's in good enough condition at the price that I want to pay. So is that a Holy Grail? No. Is it a Holy Goal? Yes. It is a goal. A Holy Grail figure. Oh, man, another one, though, would be the City Commander from Fans Project. I missed that. And I've got the Ultra Magnus figure to put into it. I just don't have the City Commander. But again, that's something that I can acquire because it exists. And I like the idea of a Holy Grail Transformer being one that does not exist. One I'd like to see maybe come out someday, or a Fans Project type company, a third-party maker, or maybe something I put together myself. I don't know. And you know what? I would say right now, that would be a Transformers animated Omega Supreme. We did not get that, and if you watch the cartoon, you can see how it turns from the Arc into Omega, and it could be done as a toy. It would be a great addition to the Transformers animated line. Maybe we could see it in a Generations line, or maybe an exclusive, who knows. But that, I think, would be my Holy Grail figure. Transformers animated Omega Supreme. Yes. Actually, I'd like to see a line of animated figures from characters that we saw on that show, like on Cybertron, that we're never going to get a figure of. Like, I'd like to see the Rat Trap. I'd like to see Grandus, Huffer, a variety of those characters that we saw make an appearance that they're just not going to do. I think they did a Cliff Jumper. I can't remember right now off the top of my head or not. But that'd be nice. A whole line of animated figures that we just didn't get, that we would never get, that were just background characters. Brawn, that would be a fun one. You know, just those characters would be nice to see. Hot Shot, those guys. So that would be my holy grail, though. I would say would be the animated Omega. We'll leave it at that. So, number 10, the final question here. If you could transform into anything, what would it be? How about a 60-pound lighter version of me? Does that count? No. Man, that's a good one, isn't it? Well, I would have to say that I think I would want to transform into something that flies. The speed's kind of cool. It'd be nice to turn into like Hot Rod or a motorcycle like RC or something like that. But I would have to say I'd want to turn into some kind of flying creature, and not even. I wouldn't want to be a vehicle. I'd have to go. Maybe it's my organic in me, but I think I'd want to go more Beast Wars. A pterodon or an eagle, something like that. Something where I could feel myself actually physically flying and that kind of stuff. So I always thought that would be great to fly. Thinking of being little kid and dreaming of being Superman and flying up through the big puffy clouds in the summertime and all that kind of good stuff. So it'd have to be a flying mode, and I think it would have to be a beast mode, a pterodon, an eagle, something to that kind of nature. Maybe a fusor, maybe an eagle pterodon. So who knows? It'd be kind of fun. So there's my reboot on getting to know a Transformers fan. I'm sure this has gone on way too long, and I appreciate everybody for sticking through that got this far. If you want to check out some of my reviews, please take a look at my YouTube channel, Ultra Maximus. Just follow the link. I'm sure other things will pop up. I talk about Transformers. I'll talk about comics, movie updates, Peanuts Reef, if you're interested in the aquarium stuff, and how my little aquarium went from nothing to where it is now. Blu-ray 3D movies, I'm a huge fan of that. I talk about a lot of that kind of stuff. So check me out. I'm across the board on what I do there. And, shoot me an email, leave me a message. I leave every one of my videos open for either just jotting down a comment or leaving a video comment. If you see a review on something and you've done one on there, leave a video comment with your review. Link it over. That's how networking is made. And somebody sees one, like, ooh, hey, check this one out. I like this. Check this one out. That kind of stuff. Feel free to do so, and take a look if you like. Subscribe. If not, don't subscribe. I'll take a look at your guys' stuff if you got some good stuff, and I may subscribe too. So I hope you guys are having a great week. It is spring. It is gorgeous outside. It's like 85 degrees here in Indiana. I actually had to turn my air conditioner on today because I walked in the house and it was 89 degrees in the house. So the air actually went on today. It's like, what, the 3rd day of April? Good stuff. You can't go wrong. So thanks for watching, guys. Have a great spring and summer. Have a good Easter for those who are celebrating this upcoming week. And I will check you guys out later. Have a good one.